For years, they whispered about his return. Royal pardons, house arrest, political resurrection. Najib Razak, once the most powerful man in Malaysia, had survived the impossible before. Scandal did not erase him. Prison did not silence him. Even behind bars, his influence lingered. In Malaysian politics, comebacks are not rare. They are tradition. But on December 26, 2025, something irreversible happened. The High Court did not reduce his sentence. It did not suspend it. It did not compromise. It added 15 more years. 15, stacked on top of the 6 he was already serving. 21 years in total. Najib Razak is 71 years old. Do the math. This was not a sentence. It was a horizon. For the first time in his political life, time was no longer negotiable. This is the story of how gravity finally caught up. Before prison, there was certainty. Najib Razak did not carry himself like a man who expected to fall. He had grown up inside power, the son of Malaysia's second prime minister, educated abroad, groomed within UMNO, the political party that had governed Malaysia for over 6 decades, from a young age. By the time he became prime minister in 2009, leadership felt less like an achievement and more like inheritance. For decades, Barisan Nasional, the ruling coalition, had governed Malaysia without interruption. Power in that world was not fragile. It was structural. Then one MDB surfaced, a sovereign wealth fund meant to elevate Malaysia onto the global financial stage, began attracting international scrutiny. Investigators traced vast sums through a maze of subsidiaries and offshore entities. Nearly $700 million was found in Najib's personal accounts. Outside Malaysia, headlines were immediate and brutal. Inside Malaysia, the reaction was slower. He denied wrongdoing. He said the funds were political donations. He reshuffled officials. He removed critics. For a time, the system held. And that matters. Because from Najib's perspective, the scandal did not immediately end his power. It bent it. In 2018, voters changed the trajectory. Barisan Nasional lost for the first time since Malaysia's independence. Najib stepped down. Charges followed. Conviction followed. Prison followed. On paper, that should have ended the story. But if you've watched Malaysian politics long enough, you learn something. Defeat does not always mean disappearance. Leaders have returned before, from exile, from scandal, from prison. Najib had seen it happen in his lifetime. So when he walked into Kajang Prison, Malaysia's main correctional facility, in 2022, he did not look like a man who believed history was finished with him. He looked like a man who believed history was negotiable. And in Malaysia, for a long time, it had been. The question was not whether he had fallen. The question was whether he thought he could outlast the fall. From inside prison, he began to test that belief. From inside Kajang Prison, Najib did not disappear. His social media accounts remained active. His statements still made headlines. Supporters gathered outside courtrooms, not quietly, but loudly. For an outsider watching Malaysian politics, something felt unusual. Most fallen leaders fade. Najib did not. Inside UMNO, loyalty did not evaporate. It recalibrated. Abandoning him meant abandoning a generation of political machinery built around his leadership. Standing by him meant preserving a base that still believed he had been treated unfairly. And so the narrative began to shift. Not thief, not criminal. Victim of political timing. In Malaysia, that argument carries weight. Politics has always been competitive. Investigations have often followed shifts in power. Every coalition has its own controversies. Why, some asked, should Najib be the only one who falls this far? Then came the royal pardon. Malaysia's constitutional monarchy retains the authority to grant clemency through the Pardons Board. It is not unusual. It is part of the system. In 2024, that system moved. Najib's sentence was reduced. His fine was significantly lowered. No dramatic speech, no televised hearing, just a quiet announcement that changed the arithmetic. If 12 years could become 6, what else was possible? For observers outside Malaysia, it looked improbable. For those who understood Malaysian political history, it looked familiar. Leaders had returned before. Mahathir Mohamad returned to power in his 90s. Anwar Ibrahim emerged from prison to become prime minister. Malaysian politics has a tolerance for reinvention. Then came whispers of house arrest. Unconfirmed, contested, denied by some, insisted upon by others. Applications were filed, arguments made, alliances tested. Najib was 70 years old. Time, for once, seemed negotiable. And if time was negotiable, then comeback was still currency. For months, it felt possible. Not certain, but possible. And in politics, possibility is oxygen. Until December 26th, 2025. Until the oxygen ran out. December 26th, 2025. The High Court in Putrajaya. Justice Colin Lawrence Sequeira had been preparing for this moment for months. The largest corruption trial in Malaysian history was reaching its conclusion. We've followed his rise and unraveling over many videos here on Silk Street. From the SRC conviction, to Rosma Mansour's influence, to Joe Low's disappearance into Shanghai. But this was different. This was the main 1MDB trial. More than 2 billion ringgit in funds linked to the Sovereign Wealth Fund had flowed into accounts under Najib's control between 2011 and 2014. The evidence stretched across bank records, internal emails, witness testimony, and financial trails that crossed continents. Najib's defense rested on one central claim. The money, he argued, was not misappropriated. It was a donation from Saudi Arabia's King Abdullah. For years, that explanation created just enough uncertainty to sustain hope. Political donations at high levels are not unusual. International relationships can be opaque. If the court accepted that narrative, the path back to relevance would remain open. Justice Sequeira dismantled that defense methodically. The alleged donation letters were deemed unreliable. The money trail did not lead to Riyadh, but back to 1MDB-linked entities. The timing of transfers aligned with bond issuances, not diplomatic gestures. The court concluded that Najib had knowledge of and control over the transactions. The verdict followed. Guilty on 4 counts of abuse of power. Guilty on 21 counts of money laundering. Then came the sentence. 15 years for the abuse of power charges. 5 years for the money laundering charges. Running concurrently, that meant 15 years. But the crucial detail was timing. The new sentence would begin after his existing prison term. 6 years remaining. 15 more added. 21 years in total. The financial penalties were equally severe, amounting to billions of ringgit in fines and recovery orders. Najib stood composed as the sentence was read. His legal team immediately signaled appeal. But the arithmetic had changed. This was not symbolic. It altered the horizon completely. The illusion of a near-term return dissolved in a single afternoon. The comeback clock had not just slowed. It had been pushed decades forward. Let's do some simple math. Najib Razak is 71 years old. 21 years in prison means he'll be 92 when he gets out. But here's what those numbers really mean in the brutal world of politics. 15 years isn't a pause in a political career. It's a generational shift. Think about what will happen to Malaysia during Najib's extended absence. UMNO, the party he controlled for decades, will be forced to evolve. New leaders will emerge. Politicians who never knew Najib at his peak will rise through the ranks. The party machinery he built will adapt to new hands. His loyalists will age out or find new patrons. The complex web of relationships that sustained his power will slowly dissolve. And here's the thing about royal pardons. They become less likely with time, not more. The king who might show mercy in 2025 will eventually be replaced by a different monarch with different priorities. Future kings will have no personal connection to Najib's legacy. Public sympathy follows a predictable pattern, too. The supporters gathering outside courthouses today will find new causes by 2030. The social media campaigns will lose energy as younger Malaysians, who barely remember his time in office, become the dominant political force. Even his most loyal allies must eventually look forward. Political careers can't be put on hold for 2 decades. But perhaps, most importantly, the Malaysia that Najib will return to will be fundamentally different. The economy will have evolved. New industries will have emerged. Different challenges will dominate public discourse. The 1MDB scandal will be ancient history to voters who were children when it happened. The political issues that made him relevant will have been replaced by concerns he never had to address. In politics, survival depends on momentum. 15 more years isn't momentum. It's gravity. The appeals process offers little hope either. Malaysia's higher courts have consistently upheld corruption convictions. The evidence is overwhelming. The legal precedents are clear. Even if he wins minor victories, the fundamental mathematics remain unchanged. He's too old, and the sentence is too long for any meaningful comeback, and gravity does not negotiate. Power does not collapse in a single moment. It thins. There was a time when Najib Razak moved markets with a speech, when billions shifted with a signature, when world leaders waited for his arrival. Now, the calendar moves without him. 21 years. Outside Kajang Prison, traffic flows the same as it always has. Motorcycles cut through humid air. Campaign banners rise and fall with new faces. Young voters are coming of age who barely remember his premiership. UMNO will evolve. Coalitions will fracture and reform. New rivalries will dominate headlines. The system moves forward. And behind concrete walls, a former prime minister measures power differently now. Not in elections, in seasons. Perhaps Malaysian politics still holds surprises. It always has. But for now, the arithmetic is simple. 21 years. In politics, that is not a pause. It is an era. And gravity does not negotiate. Malaysia has seen powerful men fall. But the next story doesn't end in a courtroom. It ends inside the United States Navy. A Malaysian contractor, luxury suites, secret naval routes, admirals compromised. They called him Fat Leonard. And for years, he wasn't just bribing officers. He was controlling them. If you want to see how a single man manipulated the most powerful navy in the world, and how it all unraveled, subscribe now. Because that investigation is next. And if you want the full 1MDB story, from Jolo to Rosma, the entire investigation is waiting in our 1MDB series. It's right here.